Hi everyone, my name is Vidya. What I'm going to be talking about today is a little bit outdated because this is my PhD work and I've started to think about it as the book rather than the work. So the book is called Speeding Up Sport. It's about technology and the Indian Premier League. Essentially, I am trying to argue that this was an STS PhD. I come to STS without any my first time in JNU in my MPhil was the first time I had heard of social science. It was not something that a person from a family of engineers and doctors did, and social science was not considered appropriate. And so I was told, after a disappointing journalistic stint, I was told that one of the things that you can do is, if no one's going to take you seriously if you don't have a PhD, so if you're going to study the climate, you should go to JNU and write a PhD about it. So I went to JNU, I made a research proposal on climate change, and I came out with a PhD on cricket. My supervisor is not here, so it's not fun to rib him when he's not, thank you, when he's not in the room. So we can let him know that I did this. So Rohan D'Souza, in the middle of a conversation about climate change, casually said, but aren't you cynical about that? Are you going to make any difference? You're really going to do something? He said, I have this project. I was thinking about working on cricket. And I think he knew the sort of crazy that I came from. And, well, here we are, speeding up sport. I'm guessing this is how it moves. So, as advertised, the book is about technology and the IPL. It looked a bit blank to put just one book cover on it. So the second one is one that I have a chapter in. And I'm not Meena Gopal or Padma Prakash. But I'm really proud of that because, it's very rare that Sharda Ogra and I share space in a table of contents. So I particularly, I'm a little proud of that. What I do essentially is that I talk about how television or a televised view of cricket creates the sport that we know today, and this technological regime sort of shapes not just the game but also the spectator. What are the technological influxes that have come into cricket since the heyday of the test match, and how theories of consumerism, speed, and even war, because I use Virilio a lot, can do for our understanding of cricket. And sort of this IPL version of it is, if you will forgive the description, only slightly or cosmetically like the cricket that CLR James, for instance, describes in what he calls the golden era of cricket. But this is not about some nostalgia for a bygone era. I'm not trying to say, the IPL is the worst thing in the world. That is not what I was trying to do. The hope was to bring a deeper understanding to what technology can do to and for sport, and what sport can do to and for technologies such as television. So this idea of mediations that are deeply layered between the IPL and ICTs, information and communication technologies, is the primary focus of the book. And I'm actually trying to understand in a very STS way what are the sort of larger and many-sided relationships between society and technology, and how the digital has sort of colonized what we call real life through leisure, through play, and by mediating most of our relationships with this so-called real world. Because I'm doing primarily STS work and did not have a background in social science and lack that sort of undergrad, postgrad training, I shamelessly and liberally have borrowed from every discipline I could. Media studies, sociology, sports studies, and that other thing called South Asia studies. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but you'll find all of that in this if you ever try to read any of this. Now, the IPL has taken cricket, which was a sport that I think was different from every other sport, and essentially made it, to misquote Douglas Adams, almost, but not quite entirely unlike cricket. My point is this: the conversion of the slow 5-day game that sometimes went into 6 days, becoming this blingy, blitzy IPL, is not some organic evolution, but a result of several clear ruptures in the fabric of the game. There has been a complicated overcrowding onto a single platform of otherwise very disparate interests. I mean, look at those pictures there. Bollywood, military technologies, cricket also, there's high finance, there's politics, there's, of course, TV and social media, popular entertainment, advertising, and not surprisingly, the ability to profit from scandal. And all of this becomes possible only on a substrate of ICTs. Cricket is unique it was unique, and I particularly like this photograph of W.G. Grace because this is not what your average sportsman looks like, right? I mean, the big beard, not quite aerodynamic, not that, the man is not aerodynamic, let's just be honest with cricket, running between the wickets, come on, are you kidding? Cricket was unique because it was the result of the match was not the most important part of the game. When W.G. Grace is playing, the draw was not just an acceptable outcome, but it was also one of the things that was unique about this sport. Ram Guha has called it central to the magic and mystique of cricket. Ashish Nandy has pointed out that victory and defeat are not the clear terms that they are in most other sports. Victory is definitely better than a draw, and a drawn game is better than defeat, but it is more honorable, at least it was, to lose grandly than to succumb to a tame draw. So the result of the game was not a single point in time. It is a process. And people like C.L.R. James have described cricket more as dance or theatre, have compared it to that, calling it, first and foremost, a dramatic spectacle. He compares this with ballet, opera, theatre. And because it was a technologically unmediated sort of age, it was, and played for 5 days. With the advent of television and other forms of engagement with the game, 2 new forms of cricket have arisen. But also there has been a continuing influx of technological mediation in every aspect. The dressing room, in the training, in the preparation and umpiring, third umpire decision review systems, technological aids such as videographing are now extensively used to shape and mold a cricketer, coaching upcoming cricketers. In fact, one of the coaches I interviewed said that the players are now opting for individual coaches, and these are not for the team. And they do it remotely. So the coach might be sitting in Bombay in the Gymkhana, and the player is playing, I don't know, a test match in Australia, and he's on the phone or the videos of the player are sent, and all of this works to change the fabric of the game in many ways. So I'm saying that what has happened, and one of the things that have really changed is umpiring and Hawkeye and Snickometer, and I'll come to that in a minute. But what has happened is that it has been reshaped and restructured the most dramatically compared to any other sport. We know that there are a lot of sports that include technology now. I mean, tennis, football, all of them have technology. But nothing has been reshaped quite as much as cricket. We literally have 2 new forms of the game that are entirely because of the way that technologies have been deployed. One of the things that has happened is that there is no sport without television. Even the Olympics are only considered a success when the event is held in a time zone that is friendly to Western television audiences. And one of the big ruptures in cricket was this, Kerry Packer's World Series cricket, and Kerry Packer, being the astute businessman that he was the first to see the massive potential of television for cricket, to put it another way, the massive potential of cricket for television. A keen businessman, I got this, one of the first to recognize the impact and the reach of television. I think he was the first to figure out that you could really sell cricket to an audience that waited on the other side of the television set. He is responsible for pioneering not just the fact that it was televised, but everything that we've now come to take for granted within cricket. Colored clothing, cameras on both sides of the pitch. You can't even think about cricket without these things now. And most importantly, making individual players into brands. The other thing that TV and particularly cameras managed to do was, and Ashish Nandy talks about this a bit, is to shift the moral center of the game. I think the use of McDonald's here and Ronald McDonald sitting in the middle of... the first time I saw this image, I didn't see him there at all. And then he sort of jumps out at you creepily as, what is he doing there in the middle of all these, greats? But the shifting of the moral center is mostly because the umpire is sacrosanct in cricket. The umpire says you're out, you walk. That was the rule. And once you question the decisions of the umpire, you put that under the microscope. What is the on-field umpire doing? Are these decisions right? Are these wrong? They sort of move. They move the morality from the fact that the player had to call a catch. Right? If it's a clean catch, the player said it was a clean catch, and you believe them. So technology puts that, because it shifts that moral center. Umpiring becomes one of the most technologically mediated aspects of cricket. The interesting thing, of course, about all these umpiring aids in cricket is that they come into the game with little or no testing. You think about goal line technologies in football, they were extensively tested before being tried out on the field. In cricket, every single one of those things that you saw in the previous slide, snickometer, Hawkeye, hotspot, each one of these come into cricket from broadcast. What happened is that Sky TV and all these other broadcasters decided that this would add value to entertainment. And because they had it, they moved it to umpiring. There was no on-field testing, and they've all moved without us asking the question of whether cricket needs those technologies. Broadcast identified the technologies and cricket simply absorbed them. And the needs and aspirations of broadcast are, some might say, should not always be the same as that of on-field decision making and officiating. So what we've done is we've moved the politics of technology here is that we are not thinking about what it is that cricket needs, but we've thought about what broadcast needs were in that point of some producer, and we've moved it onto on-field cricketing. This is a particularly favorite image of mine, and I use it a lot I don't think I've ever made a presentation about my PhD in which I have not used this picture. Paul Virilio argues that those absent from the stadium are the ones for who now televised sport is built. The spectator, who is at the center of the sporting spectacle, is not there in the stadium. It is for those eyeballs that the spectacle exists. But the first ring of spectators at a sporting event are those within the stadium, and they are also now a part of the spectacle of television itself. The watching crowd now exists in what Virilio calls the city of the instant, and encompasses the entire group of people around the world who are watching. It could be on TVs, on mobile phones, computers, laptops, second screens, third screens. This displaced, non-homogeneous crowd is the target audience now for cricket, and you cannot build this edifice without ICTs. The substrate of all of this is information and communication technologies. They bring together online fans on social media, that sort of near continuous engagement of television anchors with content generated by users and fans. You will see on most broadcasts there will be a sort of live Twitter feed on the side, which is as much part of the screen as the game itself. So essentially, the larger point that I'm trying to make through this is that the cricket fan has now become constructed both as a spectator and a consumer. Because what you're doing is you're consuming all of the, not just the television, the 5 minutes more, got it. I have only 2 more slides. You're constructing the spectator as a consumer because you're buying not just the TV, the product of the TV itself, the channel, you're buying the ads, the lifestyle that they're advertising through the IPL, which is not meant for a sort of general working class audience anymore. Cricket, as the IPL, is very specifically catered to a higher economic strata. Okay, I will quickly go through this idea that so cricket, unlike other club-based sports, club cricket is important. There is a lot of there's a lot of interest in club cricket, but as a sort of larger interest, I did not interview anyone who didn't say that the team they rooted for. What team do you root for? They looked at me as if I was some strange person asking a very obvious question, and they said India, of course. And this is after the IPL has been around for 5-6 years when I was doing my fieldwork, and everyone said obviously the team. What is your favorite rivalry? India, Pakistan. This was about 90%. Some people may have said South Africa, some people may have said West Indies. Those who remember the old good old times said West Indies. Some people said Australia, but everyone said large majority was India, Pakistan. So the national team becomes very important, but the IPL is a reworking of that sort of national identity. And as Gideon Hay, who's one of my favorite contemporary cricket writers, Gideon Hay said to me, the IPL was put together so that India would never lose. Indian fans are mercurial. Your team wins, they're gods. They lose, you go and pelt stones at their house. But the IPL was a format in which India would never lose. You harness the the advertising potential, the eyeballs that the subcontinental cricket gives you. And what he says is that what happened was in 2007, India and Pakistan both crashed out of the World Cup. And that World Cup, which was held in West Indies, was a financial disaster. Nobody watched the final. I can't even remember who played it anymore. But what happened after that was Lalit Modi went around saying, here's a game where India will never lose. You have everything you need. You have all the great players. You have everyone from all over the world. And India doesn't lose. And that's the essence of it. Essentially, the IPL is what I call a sporting entertainment complex. It has transformed that sort of sedately paced test match into this action sequence that is the IPL, and it has been carefully and deliberately crafted as a platform. I'm just going to say one other thing and then I'll stop. The fact is that it has become this, and this word keeps coming up, not just in cricket writing, in conversations with people, the word is a tamasha. The fact that cricket becomes a tamasha where it is peppered with controversy. I mean, think about the gossip around, Shrikant slapping Harbhajan Singh, Virat Kohli's then girlfriend, now wife, showing up at a match. Shah Rukh Khan has a altercation with a guard at Wankhede. All of this is grist to the mill that is the IPL, designed to catch the attention of the non-traditional cricket fan. It is, you want to go to the stadium for the drinks and the food and, a post office sort of quick 3-hour. It's like watching a movie, and Lalit Modi has tweeted this, right? It was about creating something that would rival reality television. And so what you're doing is you're encouraging the cricket fan to embrace this other parallel identity. It's become the same thing. The consumer, the spectator, the citizen who always roots for India, all of these categories are becoming quickly sort of confused within one another. So you can root as much for the commodities you like. People who supported Chennai Super Kings in Delhi had no idea, did not think that they were loyal to Chennai. They were loyal to Dhoni. Those who supported Kolkata were like, oh, we are fans of Shah Rukh Khan. So that sensibility of what is it that you're rooting for with cricket changes the idea of the consumer spectator. All right, I'll stop here. Thank you.